All right, guys, welcome to our very first episode of Beyond Bounds. I'm your host, DJ. Got my guy, co-host, Jaden. Man, we're just two students from Arbor, who live and breathe sports. And, we're beyond excited to kick off this journey with you, man. So, this podcast is all about talking sports, hot takes, talk about the biggest games, the big stories that's going on in sports, man. And, since this is our first episode, we're going to tell y'all a little bit about ourselves. And why we started Beyond Bounds. So, man, let's sit back, buckle up, let's go Beyond Bounds, man. So, obviously, I'll start off, man. My name is Dominic but obviously I go by DJ. From Mobile, Alabama. I went to Williamson High School. Then I played football all 4 years in high school. Injuries and all that. I obviously didn't play the next level. Came to Auburn. I'm a sports journalism major. This is my passion. This is what I really want to do for a long time. I was looking for a co-host for a long time to finally start it, and find names and all that. But, we finally was able to get it started. Yeah, I'm beyond ready to get this started.
Well, before I start, how old are you as well?
Oh, my bad. I'm 20 years old and I'm a sophomore.
Unk over here. We got Unk. Ooh, Lord. So I'm Jaden Eccles. I'm a freshman at Auburn. I am 19 years old, so I ain't quite up there with Unk just yet. But I was born and raised here in Auburn. Pretty boring life, I know. Went to Auburn High, played basketball. I was decent, wasn't the best, but I made it. I made it through. And I'm a psych major, psychology, but I am deciding between that and sports journalism myself. Right now, I've done all kinds of like game, or like pregame, halftime, postgame shows and stuff like that. It's kind of somewhat new to me or whatever. But yeah, I really enjoy this, and I'm ready to get it started too. So yeah.
Yeah, all right, man. So, first off, we got to kick off with what happened yesterday, man. It was the national championship, Notre Dame
hmm
versus Ohio State. Ohio State holds off Notre Dame 31-23 in a late Notre Dame comeback. Howard went 17 for 21, 231, 2 touchdowns. Very efficient night for Will Howard against a really good Notre Dame defense.
Yeah.
So, Jaden, what do you think your biggest takeaways from that game?
I really liked how Notre Dame just like they were methodical in that opening drive. It took a little bit of time, like 10 minutes off the clock or whatever. But they ended up getting the end zone and everything. And then from then on, it was all Ohio State. Uh, I think Will Howard played an amazing game. Jeremiah Smith was a beast, and they deserved that championship more. They wanted it more, obviously. And I mean, I know Ohio State outgained Notre Dame by like 137 yards total. So
Yeah.
that was a huge thing right there. And I think they had quadruple the amount of rush yards too as yeah, as Notre Dame. So that was a huge thing as well for them. Just a great all around season, the longest postseason ever. So they
Yeah,
had
yeah.
made it through a lot too. So yeah, it was well deserved.
Yeah, and as we didn't mention, Ohio State won the first championship of the 14 playoffs. They
hmm
won the first championship of the 12-team playoffs, which is kind of
Rich
cool.
history.
Yeah, but I'll say just to say this before the game, I picked Notre Dame to win. I'm a big Marcus Freeman fan, as you know. Just big. I'm not the Notre Dame fan, Auburn diehard, but a big Marcus
hmm
Freeman fan. I was rooting for Notre Dame to win that game. If you watch that first drive, man, I mean, and I said before the game, like for Notre Dame to win this game, they got to dominate up front. They got to win off physicality. If you watch that first drive, you're like, oh, okay, this might get interesting.
hmm
They had a 10-minute drive, 18 plays, just pounding it with Riley Leonard up the middle. All fields go Ohio State that whole first drive. Then
Yep.
really after that, they really just never found no groove on offense. It was just really static. Then you go down 24 points and you try to, it was a hell of a fight back. And then um, me personally, I get why he took the field goal when it was like fourth and goal when he was down
hmm
16. But me personally, I think you go for it right there just because your defense has barely begun stops all game. And then, but even after that, they still had a chance. And you go man to man. I feel like you got to go all out and play the run. And you go man to man, and Jeremiah Smith blows off the top to win the game. So all in all, it was a good ending of the game. Kind of got ugly in like the third quarter, but it was a great game. And Ohio State definitely was the favorites, and they deserve that championship. I give all my props to Ohio State for that. So congratulations to Ohio State.
hmm
And then obviously Ryan Day, everybody was critical of him, and
hmm
I can say I was too. The job at Ohio State is compete for championships and beat Michigan, and
hmm
he lost 4 straight times to Michigan. So I think that's a big problem. But when he lost that Michigan game, his job was definitely in jeopardy. I'm not gonna lie, and
Yeah.
everyone knows that.
The biggest thing to Ohio State, outside of going to the championship, of course, is beating Michigan. That is their
Yeah,
biggest rival in everything, especially football. And for you to lose four straight is never a good look for you. Everybody was calling for his head and everything, but he did lead them to the championship. So he kind of evens the playing field. It just depends on how next season goes for them when it comes to making the championship and beating Michigan as to what they'll do next.
yeah, and I really think this was an all-in season for them. Ohio
Hmm.
State they supposed to have like a $20 million plus roster. They put all the
Hmm.
chips in the table. They handpicked the players they wanted, and I mean, they went and got a championship. I think it was championship or bust for them. And they went out and
Yeah.
got it. And they won it in dominant fashion in the playoffs. Because that Michigan game was very embarrassing. You're at home. You're like a 17-point favorite, I think,
Yeah.
against not a good Michigan team this year. And you went out there and you stumped the bag and you lost. So that was big. But he bounced back and he won the championships. And I think that says a lot about him and his team and what they're about.
Hmm.
But yeah. And overall, congrats to Ohio State again for as your national champions. And back to Notre Dame. Incredible season. Marcus Freeman, great head coach. I love everything about him. They played a hard game. They almost pulled off the comeback, and
Hmm.
I think we'll see them around for a little while. I think this season right here, they don't get that many recruits like that. But I think this season with Marcus Freeman there, he should be able to recruit very well in the portal and stuff and all that.
If
And
I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm very proud of the season. Yes, you didn't get the results you wanted, but things looked scary at the beginning when they lost to Northern Illinois. And
yeah, that was
after that, it just took off, all the winning, and they won. They just made it all to the championship. And I mean, it was pretty big, him being the first black head coach in the national championship, as well as coaching against his former team, Ohio State, that he played for. So I mean, all in all, it was a great game. Congrats to Ohio State, like you said. But I think it was a very successful season for Notre Dame, and the future's looking bright for them.
Yeah, and I always crack this joke because I want to coach one day. So I said since he didn't do it, that still give me a chance to become the first black coach to win the championship. So,
Yeah, it's a
but I'm still
chance
rooting
still
for the
open.
guy.
Still
Yeah, it's still
open.
open. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, man. So all right, let's jump into the division round playoffs, man. It's exciting division round playoffs. Great games, close games,
Hmm.
very good games.
Hmm.
First off, we're gonna start with the Chiefs versus the Texans, man. There's
Yep.
been a lot of backlash about this game, man. What's been going on?
Yes.
Um, I'll let you start off, man. I'll let you start off, Jay.
So with the Chiefs, they've been getting the Kansas City Zebras, or what I'm saying,
Yeah,
all the stuff about the refs bailing them out. And I did some research, and if it wasn't for lucky plays and or like calls from refs, they would have ended up 6-8 in the regular season. Not a good look. And yes, they've come out 14-2, but I mean, and they did good in the divisional round against the Texans. I was pulling for Stroud, honestly. I just wanted to see him win a young quarterback, a new face in the AFC Championship. But of course, the Zebras got away, and they got away with some pretty strange call. They always do, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it personally. So the Chiefs are going to the AFC Championship and facing the Bills.
yeah. I'll say first off, I'm not the biggest fan of the Chiefs, the biggest Mahomes fan, but I have always given them credit in the past years and all that about
Hmm.
they find ways to win games.
They
They
do.
find ways to win games, even when it's not pretty. They just know what type of game it is, and they play it, and they find ways to win. But watching that Texans game, those were some horrific calls, and
Yeah. Hmm.
it's not about sometimes being bad calls. It's about when the flag is called. I think the one on Will Anderson, it was third down
Hmm.
and Mahomes just throws it up, throws it away, and Will Anderson clearly makes contact with the chest first and not the helmet. And as you seen Troy Aikman on the commentator, he was livid. He was letting the refs know that was horrible, and I really like that from Troy Aikman, from the commentators now, kind of calling out the refs. And I mean, I don't know, they gotta fix that, man. I mean, I don't know, what do you do? I mean, because you find players, you find coaches when they say something. I mean, I feel like the
Hmm.
refs should actually be held accountable. And
Yes.
Brady was kind of like that, untouchable, and that's the new Mahomes. I mean, she's kind of
Honestly,
untouchable.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
and if you think and then even on his late slide, he went down late, and the two Texas players hit each other, and they call
Yeah.
another unnecessary roughness, that extends the Chiefs drives again. They gonna get points.
Exactly.
That's like 10 points right there that impacts the game. So
Exactly.
to me, it was very horrific.
Because I've been in a whole different league in the NBA, as you can see. I'm a Warriors guy. I've been on the winning side of that when, it was Warriors Cavs all the time and how, the Warriors keep finding ways to win and stuff like that. And now I'm going on the losing side with the Chiefs always winning and getting away with everything in the NFL. So I understand both sides of the story. I mean, yes, it's great you're finding ways to win, but like you have to sit back and sometimes consider how many games are getting thrown y'all's way because of these refs. And I think refs, not only in the NFL, but in the NBA and any other major sport out there, should always be held accountable. I mean, one or two bad calls every now and then, understandable. You're human, you make mistakes. But when you're costing teams games, especially in the playoffs, you ought to be held accountable in some kind of way.
Yeah. And, to me, I feel like, they should have like a guy, someone like a judge up top,
Yeah.
to kind of like review those calls, especially like those 15-yard penalties out there. They should have somebody reviewing those calls to be like, hey, if it's once they throw the flag, that gives the people enough time to look at the play and see was it really a flag. And if it's not a flag, they should call down and be like, hey man, pick up that flag. It wasn't a flag because like they have they're not held accountable.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And then, like, even the play with Mahomes, like, I mean, you see he was scrambling and he just had to pause and take the hit before he ran out of bounds and try to draw a flag there. So, I mean, he's kind of setting him up. But, I'm not taking that away from the Chiefs. I have a lot of respect for them. They're a good team. And I'm not saying the Texans would have won the game without those calls, but those were big calls and big moments. And, but the Chiefs are going back to the AFC Championship for, I think, the seventh year.
Seventh straight year.
Yeah. This has been a dominant dynasty,
Indeed. Looking at three-peat too.
Yeah. Three-peating is hard, man.
It really is.
I would never count them out. I don't like them, but I'm not counting them out. It's definitely a possibility. All right. And then I think the biggest game of the divisional round were the top two MVP candidates, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. It was a great game. They both put on the show. It was a sad day for Lamar Jackson, obviously. What do you think about that?
Okay, I got into the NFL at a really young age, and especially with me being from Auburn, you could not cheer for Cam Newton.
Bro,
one of the best mobile quarterbacks ever. Couldn't do it.
I'm the biggest Cam Newton fan to this day.
I watched his podcast, all that.
Yeah,
and then, of course, when he stopped playing, I was like, oh, I got to find somebody else. Lamar Jackson came along. Another great mobile quarterback. So now I am currently a Lamar Jackson fan. And that game really had me upset. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, personally, I'm going to go ahead and say it out front. I think Lamar wins MVP because he is ranked higher in most major categories than Josh Allen and or tied with him. And although, yes, Josh has performed better statistically and historically in the playoffs versus Lamar Jackson, I just think he's got it this year. I think he gets his second straight and his third overall. Just the way that game ended just really made me upset because when Mark Andrews caught it wasn't the 2-point conversion, it was like a regular play. He threw it to him like in the middle of the field. He had open grass ahead, but he went around instead the other defenders trying to avoid them. Got the ball punched out, turnover, led to points, and then of course the game tying drop. That is what really had me because he was right there. But I understand you're in Buffalo, it's snowing, conditions of the game might get to you sometimes, and the pressure, the lights might get too bright, whatever. But great game. Don't get me wrong, great game, just bad result for Lamar. I think this like really hurts his resume historically when it comes to where he ranks all time in quarterbacks, especially when it comes to the playoffs. So he's got to step it up from here.
Yeah, back to that. I kind of said before the game, whoever loses this game takes a step back.
Exactly.
They take a step back, and it was a big game for both of them, and it sucks that it had to be one loser. But I said the loser definitely take a step back because they both have lost some big games. And before this game, Josh Allen really hadn't beaten a top quarterback in the playoffs until he just beat Lamar.
Yeah.
Well, he beat Lamar like a long time ago, but that was like a 17-10 game. It wasn't really.
It wasn't really much going on.
Yeah. But he beat Lamar, and so that's a big win for Josh Allen. And My biggest takeaway, I mean, a lot of people is putting the blame on Mark Andrews, which I think he does deserve majority of the blame because Mark Andrews is a great tight end. He's going
Yeah,
to go down as one of the top tight ends all the time. He's great. But I'm not putting much blame on Lamar, but Lamar said it himself. Those 2 turnovers was big, that
yeah.
pick, and then that fumble that Von Miller almost took back, that led to points. So that was
Hmm.
very big in the game too, and Lamar know that. But the way Lamar finished that game was very impressive, and it
Very.
sucks that I was hoping really hoping for overtime,
Hmm.
and that sucked the way it ended. And I mean, Mark Andrews has just got to catch the ball, man. I mean, it's right there
Yeah,
in
I
his
know.
hands.
Like it's right there in your hands. But I think before that game, Lamar never turned it over twice at all, I don't think. And then that happened. And then of course, Mark Andrews also had a fumble and a drop pass. So that really like turnovers and penalties and stuff like that. Like he said in his interview, they don't help, especially in playoff games.
The
You
turnovers can
have to
kill you.
win those. You
Yeah, and then
have to,
they lost the turnover margin by 3. You lose the
yeah.
turnover margin by 3, and you only lose by
Hmm.
2 points. So you know deep inside without those turnovers, you probably
You would
easily
have
win that
won.
game. You
Yeah.
easily win that game because if I'm not mistaken, Josh Allen did not play his best game. I think
He
Josh
had
Allen had
like a
I think he
little
had
over
120
100
passing
yards.
yards. Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
wasn't a
Josh
whole
Allen did
lot.
not play his best game, but he managed it well. He took care of the ball, which is the most important thing. He found a way to win. So all props to him. And a lot of people saying, should they just hand it off to Derrick Henry at the middle? I mean, yeah, you could.
Honestly, yes. Like
I think that's the option.
when Mark Andrews dropped the pass, the first thought, well, one of the first thoughts, I also thought, why did he not catch it? One of the first thoughts was that Seahawks Super Bowl. You threw an interception when you had Marshawn Lynch. You threw a drop pass to Mark Andrews when you had Derrick Henry. When you're right there, you have to use your running back. You have to. And if you don't use your running back, Lamar is the top, it has the most rushing yards by a quarterback of all time. Use him. I mean, they always have these plays where they fake it to Derrick Henry and Lamar runs it the other way. Do that. No need to pass the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, you have two of the top rushers in the league right now. You have to use one of them in that
yeah.
situation.
And I wouldn't have minded a run up the middle with Derrick Henry, just let him
Hmm.
just run the ball and go up and get it. But overall, I mean, when you look at the play call, it didn't like it was a bad play call because Mark Andrews was wide open, hit it right in the
Hmm.
hands. He dropped it, season over just like that.
I
That's a
also think that injuries hurt them as well because they would have greatly benefited from Zay Flowers being out there and running routes and everything. I think he would have gotten a couple touchdowns himself, honestly, and changed the momentum
yeah.
of the game entirely just being there on the field, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting in where the Ravens go from here. With
Hmm.
Isaiah Likely, which I love, which I think he's
Yeah.
a great tight end, and where they're gonna go with Mark Andrews because I mean I think Mark Andrews' extension is coming up, and if they're gonna extend him or not, so I
Yeah.
think that's very big. But yeah, Josh Allen, you get another shot at Mahomes, man.
Hmm.
You didn't play your best ball against him, but you just come out on the wrong side of it every time. But
I know he's dominated in the regular season against Mahomes, but Mahomes always dominated against him in the playoffs. So it's
yeah,
just whoever plays better on that day.
I think it might come down to whoever get the ball last. That's how
Yeah,
it's
honestly.
looking recently, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah. And then other game, Rams at Eagles, snow
Hmm.
game. Not very pretty on the Eagles side, but they
Not
found a way.
really.
They found another way to win. Saquon just carrying that team on his back, man.
Yes. Saquon exploded 205 rushing yards. I saw that one clip where he was talking to Jalen Hurts. He said, watch this, and then scored like a 70-something yard touchdown. Also play from him. Overall, I think you just got to recoup. As like, I mean, yes, you won, but I mean, you have to play better because you're facing, a pretty big threat in Jaden Daniels in the next game. So definitely recoup. I mean, you won, congratulations, but it's not over yet. Job's not done.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say I'm worried about Jalen Hurts, but I am starting to get a little worried
Hmm.
because these last 2 games he hasn't looked pretty throwing the football.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
against the Rams, he had 15 completions. He was 15 for 20, which is
Yeah.
very efficient, but only 128 passing yards on
Yeah.
15 completions. He didn't turn the ball over though, which is big. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on with him, but it just haven't looked pretty throwing the football. But they also
Yeah.
have a great run game with Saquon, which is carrying the load. And they're finding ways to win games. But at some point, you got to get the passing game going because you don't want to become one dimensional against a good team and then no,
Yeah.
you messed up. So
The biggest
uh,
issue with them is I think most teams are starting to realize you stop Saquon, you stop the Eagles. So you have to find other weapons and other ways to score and get around that and use him as a decoy sometimes, you know? But I think with Hurts getting back in shape and being ready to go for the championship game, the conference championship game, I think they'll have a way to pull it out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think they're obviously the clear favorites in that game. I mean, I'm not. I mean, maybe Kellen Moore just need to draw more stuff for Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
To what would work for him as of right now and where his condition is, which I don't know. But maybe just call some plays about what he can do best right now. Because I mean, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are ballers, man. You have a great wide receiver core. You got two top two receivers. But they're running the football very efficient. I mean, and Jalen Hurts ran for 70 rushing yards too, so I do give him his credit with that. So they're pounding the ball great. The offensive line's playing good, but they're finding ways to win football games, so I give them that credit.
Hmm.
The Rams, I mean, Matthew Stafford looked great, 324 yards, two
Yeah.
TDs. Um, you know, they had a chance to win the game. They drove down like inside the 20. You take the
Yeah.
sack on you take that big sack on what it was second down or third
Yeah, I think
down.
so. Hmm.
Yeah, that was a big sack by
Just,
Jalen Carter. That was huge.
yeah.
The Rams was right there. They had the shot to win. It just came up a little bit short. Yeah. So, and then obviously the upset of the week.
Uh-huh.
Commanders.
Uh-huh.
Commanders and Jane Gaines goes into Detroit, the number one seed, and beats them and dominates them. I would say
Yeah,
dominated Detroit 45-31. Jane Daniels 22 for 31, 299 passing yards, two TDs, zero interceptions. Jared Goff had four turnovers himself.
yeah,
Four turnovers in a game that you just can't have four turnovers in. Um,
exactly. Like
that
like we
was
said earlier, you can't have a bunch of turnovers. And I mean, kudos to Jaden Daniels as well. He was the first quarterback since Joe Flacco in '08 to knock off a number one seed in the playoffs. And the Commanders are going to the NFC Championship for the first time in 33 years. That's big news. I mean, I think honestly, if he continues down this path for 5 or 6 more years, they might end up putting a statue outside the stadium when he retires, you know?
yeah,
I see it happening.
yeah. I'm not counting them all against the Eagles either
Yeah, exactly.
because I clearly believe that the Lions was on upset alert before this game
Hmm.
because the Lions that defense is banged up, man. That defense is banged
Yeah.
up bad, and it kind of showed. That defense was banged up. They've been facing injuries all year, but they was finding ways to win. And then it's just something about the playoffs, and I always tell people about football playoffs, man. You can have one bad
Hmm.
game, and it's
One,
over.
and it's all
One
over.
bad game, and it's over. And obviously, they choose the worst game possible to have full turnovers,
Yeah.
and it's going to cost you every time. And Washington came out; they're playing their best ball. Jay
Yeah.
Daniels is not. Jay Daniels is not a rookie quarterback, man. He's a rookie
He's not.
quarterback by paper, but that guy's not. If you look at his
Hmm.
poise and about what he just do, he made the right throw, the right run. He does
It was,
everything at the right time, and he's just playing phenomenal football. And I don't care. Yeah, Mahomes is the best quarterback by legacy and the best quarterback, But the best quarterback playing the best football right now is Jane Daniels, and it's not even close.
yeah.
It's not
I
even
mean, it
close.
was a lot of his calmness. I could sense his calmness watching him play. And that's not something you see often, especially in a high stakes divisional game like that from a rookie quarterback. So, I mean, taking the team on your back like that and just doing whatever you can possible to get your team in that championship game is awesome. And I commend him for that. And I'm rooting for him against the Eagles as well.
Yeah, I mean, people might think it sound crazy. Hey,
Hey,
this guy could actually win a Super Bowl.
yeah,
He could
honestly,
actually, he
he
could
could actually
actually
do
win a
it.
Super Bowl as a rookie.
Yeah.
And this Commanders team I mean, if you look at them last year, their roster last year, no one thought they would be here right now. I
No.
give shout outs to Dan Quinn, phenomenal job.
Hmm.
Cleveland's Clifford, the offense coordinator, he's very connecting with Jane Daniels, so shout out to him too. They've done a phenomenal job turning around this team, and they're gonna be the underdogs against the Eagles, but they have a great shot at coming out
They
and winning
do.
that game.
They
Not
do.
gonna lie, they have a great shot at coming out and winning that game. Then for Detroit, I mean,
Phenomenal
that,
season. Phenomenal season. But
yeah,
just
phenomenal. I mean, they over
didn't.
the edge. It sucks the way it ended. It's very suck.
Yeah, but
I
just got to
really,
regroup and look
yeah,
forward to next year.
I really like Dan. I really like Dan Campbell. Great
Hmm.
coach, but that's a sad way to go out. But it's just injuries. I think injuries play a
Yeah.
big role for them. And
Hmm.
I said that like when you watch that, even though they didn't lose, they only lost 2 games, but when you watch that Bill games and what Josh Allen did to them, man, it just couldn't do it. And that offense was just playing phenomenal all year. And I have always
Yeah.
stressed, man. Like once again, one bad game, one
That game
bad
can
game,
get you out of there.
and it's over. And they chose the
Hmm.
wrong day to have a bad day.
Yeah, they really did.
So they're gonna have Washington and at Philly for the conference championship, and
Hmm. The Bills in
the Bills
Arrowhead.
back to Arrowhead. Maybe
Man.
another thriller, last possession type game. I'm predicting.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a good game. But yeah, it's a great week of football, man.
Great week.
Um, yeah. So obviously we're gonna move to the NBA side now, guys.
Yeah. Let's go to the basketball side of things now.
NBA side now. So before this, just saying, I didn't know he was a Golden State fan, but now I do. I'm a big LeBron
Hmm.
guy, so back in those days, it's very much hatred for those Golden State Warriors, man.
Yep.
Big rivalry. I hate,
Big
I hate,
rivalry.
I hate, I hate, I hate the Golden State. I'm not gonna say I hate him anymore. A lot of respect for that Curry guy, man. But
Yeah.
they're still in the same conference with my Lakers, so it's no love there. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, both LeBron and Curry have been kind of on the dip recently with
yeah,
their teams and everything. It's just a lot going on. But hey, new guys come in, they start running the league. You got Ant, Luca, JT, Jokic, all kinds of younger guys. But hey, all in all, the league is still looking to be in good hands with the older crew, younger crew, everybody. It's all looking great. But let's talk about Rivals Week. Rivals Week on Tuesday, we have two matchups, which is the Knicks and Nets and the Sixers and Nuggets. Now, for the Knicks and Nets game, who do you think is going to win?
um, obviously, the Knicks should win that game.
Yeah. Mhm.
They just have a better roster, better team by far.
Yeah.
The Knicks haven't been playing up to their full potential so far, though. They haven't. And,
Yeah.
they got to figure some things out, especially on that defensive end. But they've been
Hmm.
getting a little bit of a groove lately. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Knicks win that game by double digits easily.
Yeah, I mean, you got Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, and then with the addition of Karl Anthony Towns not too long ago, I think that they're all meshing well. Cat's playing phenomenal. I think the Knicks definitely won that trade with the Wolves, and I just don't see like D'Angelo Russell and the Nets overcoming the Knicks, honestly, in my opinion. And then as for the Sixers and the Nuggets, I personally have the Nuggets winning that because the Sixers are riddled with injuries. They've got, how do I forget his name? They have Embiid, Paul George. They
Mhm.
have all
I think
those.
Drummond out. I think Kyle
Drummond's
Lowry out.
out. They lost former Rookie of the Year candidate or favorite, Jared McCain. They got a bunch of other people out as well. It's just not looking too good for them right now.
Yeah,
And
man.
the Nuggets are only missing Jamal Murray, and Jokic is
But
already carrying the team
Westbrook has
anyway.
been playing. Westbrook been playing like something, man.
Yeah, he's been
So
playing really great. Him and the triple double duo, honestly, they're playing phenomenal together. So I think they're gonna come out on top.
yeah, Jokic is just playing still playing at a level that you just can't really compete with. Guys, I mean, him and SGA is like right here for the MVP again. I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic won it again with how he's playing.
Hmm.
Guys are walking triple double just easily.
Literally,
And then Philly, man, I'm just disappointed. Embiid,
I am.
Embiid, I'm just highly disappointed, man. With that talent and how dominant you are, man, you gotta be available, man. You
You gotta
gotta
be.
you gotta train right in the off season. You gotta eat right. Like at some point, you gotta get healthy. Like this has been going on too long, and you're just not available. Tyrese Maxey is arguably can be a top 5 guard. And
Yes,
Tyrese Maxey is a baller, and they clearly feeling him. Paul George haven't played up to the level he's supposed to be playing up either yet. So that Sixers team is just full of baloney right now. They're
honestly.
irrelevant, and
I
they
mean,
just
I understand injuries happen, and I really hate that Jared McCain went down. I was really pulling for him to win Rookie of the Year.
yeah
But for you to be consistently injured and consistently missing games and stuff, especially when your team is built around you, you cannot afford that. And I think he's just becoming more of a problem day in and day out. But to move on to Wednesday's matchups, you have the Wolves and the Mavericks. Great Western Conference Final rematch. I think it'll be an awesome game. And that's at 6:30 with the Warriors and Kings, California, excuse me,
Yeah,
matchup coming up at 9. I have the Wolves actually winning that game against the Mavericks, mainly
yeah,
because they're missing their star player with Luca, followed by Dante Exum, Derek Lively, Jaden Ivey, Klay Thompson's questionable. So a bunch of players missing for them. And of course, Ant and Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert and even Rob, honestly, coming off the bench and giving them some good minutes in there as well. I think they're going to just be too much for the Mavericks to win.
Obviously, Tim Wolves. I mean, they haven't been looking that great either. They've been playing below expectations, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're a team that they have their high moments and then they
hmm
come back to their low moments, and I've seen that all season. But I think the Timberwolves go in there and beat Dallas. I think Dallas does have good role players that can help contribute to Kyrie. So it depends on how they step up too. But with Ant Man and Randall, hopefully Randall plays good and Gobert and
Yeah.
all those guys. I think Ant finds a way to win that game in Dallas.
Now, I think you know who I got for that matchup at 9. You know who I got for that matchup at 9. But unfortunately, we are missing Draymond Green and some really big bench players as well, like Brandon Pajemski, Kyle Anderson, and Jonathan Kuminga are also out as well. But I'm always going to back these guys no matter what, who they play against. So that's my pick. Who's your pick?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Kings because
Okay.
I'm not saying I can't even think of his name right now. Um, the Kings coach that got Mike Brown. Yeah, no, I
hmm
can think of his name. Not saying
Yeah.
Mike Brown's the problem, but since the interim head coaches took over, the Kings are maybe like 7-1, I think, or
hmm
72, something like that. They've been balling. I think they're a very hot team right now. And as you said, Golden State has injuries and this and that. Curry really doesn't have that much help. And I think the Kings win that one very convincingly. I think Curry just doesn't have enough help, and the Kings been balling
Yeah.
out. Kings are very hot right now, so I think the Kings win that game.
If
Yeah,
for whatever reason the Warriors GM is watching this right now, please get Curry some help. I am begging you myself as a fan, please get him some help.
I mean, like I was saying, I don't know why the Warriors still haven't went out and got a big man yet. They don't. I mean,
Honestly, I've been saying that for years. That you can't sit here and have a 6'10" Kevon Looney or a 6'9" Draymond Green as your center.
yeah,
That's like small forward, power forward height. You need a 7'1" plus guy. Get somebody who you can rely on, who you can even teach to shoot the three ball because we love to do that over here. I mean, get somebody, anybody, honestly.
yeah, I agree.
And then on to Thursday, we have the Heat facing the Bucks. Personally, it's a bunch of drama going on around the Heat with Jimmy Butler trying to leave up out of there, and then with injuries as well, like Tyler Hero and Josh Richardson. I have the Heat winning that game though because the Bucks are missing Giannis and Chris Middleton and Marjon Beauchamp. They're all questionable. I I just have the Buck, not the Bucks, the Heat winning that game in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
hmm
Miami is struggling. Miami is just out of groove
They
right
got
now.
some dogs though. They got some dogs too
Oh
now.
yeah, they got of course they got ballers. They can compete with you on any given night.
hmm
But I think the Bucks are actually playing some decent ball right now. I think the
Yeah.
Bucks are a sleeper team in the East that people are really forgetting who Giannis and Dame is. And they're playing some good ball right now. So Bucks win that in easy and convincing fashion. Jimmy Butler really doesn't want to be there, but he's just playing for he
Yeah.
won't get fined, I think.
hmm
But I think they need to figure that out soon. Just to figure out the focus and the future of that franchise with Miami, who's obviously been a great franchise for the last years. The Heat way they say, so they really need to
hmm
figure that out. I mean, if you don't want to pay Jimmy Butler, where he, I mean,
Got to do something about it. Just
yeah. So
get your team under wraps. 'Cause as you can see, it's hurt the locker room and everything. And shout out to the Bucks as well for winning the in-season tournament. Going 7-0. But Darvin Ham, the former Lakers coach, going 14-0 in the first two seasons of the in-season tournament.
He's
Hey,
an in season. He's an
he
in
can
season
win.
tournament
He
demon.
can
He's
win.
undefeated. I give him his credit.
Exactly. A win merchant, as some would say. So, and then as for you history nerds out there, the two of the most storied teams in the NBA facing off, the Celtics and the Lakers. Personally, I think the Celtics with very few injuries, I think they're gonna pull this one out. Honestly, they just been on one recently. I think they're gonna beat the Lakers, and I'm sure you're gonna have the Lakers, aren't you?
Oh yeah, obviously, like no shade to the Celtics. They're a great team, great
Hmm.
roster, great coach. I mean, they probably have one of the best rosters in the NBA by far.
Yeah.
But it's in LA. We got the LA crowd behind us. Historic matchup. We know what this game means us. Yeah, I'm running my Lakers, of course. No matter what. But
Yeah.
with my Lakers though, just being honest, we got to be better. I mean, we haven't. We started off the season pretty decent, and we haven't been looking that dominant ever since. We just at
Same
times,
bad.
we just like I don't know. We just like we don't play like I don't know. Like we just don't look good on the court. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in the first quarter, we were playing like good basketball. You can see it. You can see it with the energy level. And then second half, you look at the Clippers game. We couldn't rebound. We couldn't get stops. It's a bad game. So I think
Yeah.
we gotta figure some things out. Hopefully make a trade or something to get the roster better. Because I
Hmm.
mean, we don't have much time with LeBron. We don't.
We really
We gotta
don't.
figure something out soon. So AD, AD got to play a little better too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this out. AD got outplayed by Zubac. Zubac almost had a 2020 game on AD. AD.
Yeah.
If you look at AD at the beginning of the season, where AD was averaging like 30, 34, and 15,
Yeah.
and now he's just declined. And I mean, AD, for us to win, you got to be the best player on the court. And I always stress that about my Lakers. So, of course, I wrote my Lakers against the Celtics, but and overall, we got to be better. And yeah, so I think we pulled that one out. It's gonna be a good game, maybe a thriller. If we win, obviously gonna be a close game. I think, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
think it'll be close no matter what. But on Friday, we're gonna have the Pelicans and the Grizzlies facing off. The Grizzlies are only missing two players, while the Pelicans are missing Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones, while Zion's questionable. I just see John Morant and the Grizzlies. You know, I think they're gonna outdo the Pelicans. I mean, you saw that Spurs game, that dunk that didn't count. Ja's been on one recently. Ever since he was like, "Oh, I'm done dunking. It's bad for my knees." He ain't stopped. So I think it's gonna continue on that night, and they're just gonna get that W.
Yeah, I mean, I think people forgot how good Memphis was,
Hmm.
before all those injuries and the gun and all that, but
Yeah.
I
Mm.
think people forgot how good Memphis was. They're a young, feisty, grindy out team. They're gonna play hard. They're gonna talk their noise when they're up, of course, and you know, they got the roster for it. I think they're number two in the West, number three in
Hmm.
the West.
Somewhere up high. Yeah.
So they're number two in the West. They're playing good ball. Um, so yeah, Memphis win this game easily. But
Yeah.
yeah, Memphis is. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're a threat in the West, but I mean how they're looking, they are a threat in the West, and I think people kind of forgot how good they were before
Mm.
all this. They was just two seeds when they made the playoffs before. They went down to my Lakers, of course, but they've been 2, 3 seed in the playoffs when they make it, and they're a dangerous team, young,
Yeah.
dangerous team. When healthy, when
And
healthy.
for the final day, I think personally the most interesting and entertaining day of NBA Rivals Week, which will be Saturday on the 25th,
Yeah.
we will have starting off the Nuggets and Timberwolves facing each other. That will be an awesome game. I think that the Nuggets will they've dominated. I think the Jokic and Gobert head to head, Jokic has dominated that this season so far. I think they're just going to prove to be too much for this struggling Wolves team and come out on top.
I'm gonna go on the other side. I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves.
Okay.
I think they're gonna but even though they can play with Rondo, I think Timberwolves have those. They like to throw those two. They like to keep throwing different bodies at Jokic, the two big
Hmm.
bodies at Jokic, to just
Yeah.
try to throw him off his game a little bit. And I think that's the key to trying to beat the Nuggets as they did in the playoffs last year. You got to throw bodies at them, different bodies at them. You got to keep bodies on them. Just give them different looks and all that. So
Hmm.
I like how the Timberwolves play. When the Timberwolves play their best ball, they can be a great defensive team. I think we know that.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that they're gonna play great defense and I'm rolling with the Timberwolves, to knock off the Denver Nuggets that game.
And as for the next game, we have the finals matchup rematch, and it'll be the Celtics and Mavericks. at 4:30. I think the Celtics will also come out on top in that one as well. With the Mavericks are just missing too many players. Some of them will be promoted to the probable list instead of questionable like they are right now. But I just think the Celtics they're a little too dominant for the Mavericks to handle right now, and I think that they're going to come out on top as well. I just Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown and Drew Holiday are going to prove to be too much, in my opinion, because you don't have anybody on the Mavericks that can match up really well with them right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Boston should win this game convincingly. They should. But
Hmm.
if Kyrie come out ball and get a hot night, it could be a little close and come down a little thing. But yeah, Boston should win this game easily. Until Luka get back, Dallas just can't compete because I'm gonna say this once again. Dallas beat my Lakers like almost by 30 without Kyrie or Luka, which was
Hmm.
very embarrassing. So that does shows that their role player can come out and play
Yeah.
when they need to. But yeah, Boston should win this game. But Dallas, they know they need Luka back, and like I think Dallas like 7 in the West right now. But I do think they're gonna make a
Hmm.
push up once Luka come back because they're
Yeah.
just that good. So Luka just that good. So yeah.
I mean, anybody can win any game, honestly, in the NBA. You'll never know. But as for the final game, this is where we're going to have the biggest argument. I already see it happening. Lakers and Warriors. You know who I'm rocking with? You know who I'm rocking with? The Kings of California, in my opinion. And yeah, I got the Lakers on. Not the. Oh no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, all right.
no. The Warriors. The Warriors are on top in that game. I got the Lakers losing that game actually, because as a diehard fan myself, we also have fewer injuries, and I just feel like the Warriors will take that into consideration as well as play dominant. They'll be on a good run. They'll because basketball is a game of runs, as we've seen in previous times and games and all types of stuff like that. It's just a matter of who's hot, feed the hot hand, and get stops on defense. I just think that the Warriors will prove their dominance there. And of course, tell me why you think the Lakers are going to win that game.
So yeah, obviously I'm rocking with the Lake Show.
Hmm.
Shout out to Curry and LeBron because
Ugh,
every time they face each other, bro, it's a movie. They put on a show
every time.
every time they put on a show. As you know, the Crimson game, they was the most watched game in the NBA this season. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're in the NBA, is that a problem? Maybe because once they leave, we don't know where your views is gonna go for real. So maybe that's a problem. But yeah, obviously I'm rocking with my Lakers. I just think LeBron just gets the best of Curry since he's been in the Lakers, man. I just think he's got the best of him. We beat him in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Mhm.
We beat him in most of the regular season games, probably even. I just like my Lakers in that game. I mean, when you have two of the best three players on the court, I think you got a chance to win every game, and that's what we got in that game. Especially if
Mhm.
Draymond not there, Curry really doesn't have no help. I think we should win. But Lakers, we like to make everybody look like superstars and make everything a close game. So it might be another thriller game. But yeah,
I personally am hoping for a thriller game because that Christmas game was awesome. We got the very rare double bang from Mike Green, as well as the block by James in the same game. So whenever Curry and LeBron face off, sure, they're the best of friends, former teammates on the USA team this past summer. But when it comes to the Lakers and Warriors jerseys being thrown on, they're going head to head and they're giving it all they got.
for sure. People always talk about how like they're friends now, but people don't realize back in Cleveland and Golden State at first, I don't think they liked each other. They didn't like
No,
each
they
other.
did not like
As
each
you
other.
look at the clips and all that, they did not like each other. Not gonna lie, they didn't. And
I think that their friendship really took off when they started playing together in the All-Star games.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
for sure,
then after LeBron left Cleveland and all that, it was more of a like it was always a respect. It was more of like a friendship and stuff and all that. But that's NBA Rivals Week for you. I mean, great slate of games for this week. And moving on to the level below that in
yeah.
the
And
college
back to the NBA
basketball
state
world.
games. We're
Oh,
gonna see. We're
okay.
gonna see who has the best record coming out in that slate.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
so we're gonna remember those picks and see who comes out with the best record for those picks.
Yep. And as for college basketball, we have 10 great games coming up from Wednesday on to next Tuesday. And on Wednesday, we have number 13 Texas A&M Aggies playing against the number 16 Ole Miss Rebels. And personally, I think that Ole Miss is going to shock Texas A&M. I think that Ole Miss, they've been really, really great this year. I think that they can just they can figure things out, play together as a team like they always have been, and come out with this W. And who do you have for that game?
Just to refresh, is Texas A&M at home that game?
I think so. Right. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I've been watching a little bit of Ole Miss ball, and I just don't think they have that like big convincing wins yet about their schedule. But I think I'm gonna roll Texas A&M to win that game. I think Texas A&M finds a way to hold them off with the crowd behind them.
And excuse me, I was incorrect. They are actually away. So I think that Ole Miss, their crowd is going to play a favor in that as well. So
Okay,
yeah.
well, I'm still gonna roll with the Aggies for that one.
hmm
So
hmm
I'm still just gonna roll with the Aggies on that one. I'm gonna roll with the Aggies. I like the Aggies winning that one.
The next game will be number 10 Marquette against Villanova. Villanova has struggled this year, and as a former, I guess some would say a former, or they still are a blue blood, but they haven't been playing like that recently. I would have to go with number 10 Marquette, just because they've been really dominant, looking awesome this year, honestly. And I don't really see Villanova coming out on top in this game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think Marquette win this game. Villanova also been struggling. Not the same Villanova team as we know. So I don't.
hmm
They just don't have the firepower right now. They just not in the groove. So yeah, Marquette should win convincingly.
Now, the next one is number 21 Michigan against number 11 Purdue. Number 21 Michigan, as you all know, I'm an Auburn student and I am a diehard Auburn basketball fan. They just this past offseason got former Auburn guard Trey Donaldson, and I think he's meshed well with that team. However, I have the Purdue Boilermakers coming out on top as the runner-up in this last national championship game. I think that they're going to dominate, and they're at home too, so that crowd will definitely favor into it as well. But I think they're going to come out on top. Going to be a close game, but it'll still be a good one, and they'll win that one.
Yeah. Picking back to the runners up in our championship, even though they lost a big piece in Zach Edey, was a big
hmm
part of their offense, big part of their team. But yeah, I think Purdue is just the better team. I think Purdue finds a way to sneak out that win. And, yeah.
Now, game of the week. I am so excited for it. We have College Game Day coming to Auburn, Alabama, as Auburn hosts number one Auburn, number one unanimous. Don't forget it. Number one unanimous Auburn hosts number 6 Tennessee. Now, I want to say before conference play began, everybody knew or had a feeling College Game Day would come regardless, but was expecting a number one versus number two, expecting Auburn and Tennessee to be right there up under each other and everything. And unfortunately, Tennessee has lost now twice to Florida and to Vanderbilt in shocking games, honestly, in my opinion. And regardless, it's still going to be a great game. Personally, I mean, a little biased, yes, because I go to Auburn, I've lived here my whole life, all that. But just going off of what I know, I think Auburn has been more of a more dominant team. Their offense has been proven to be the most efficient in the country. They've worked their butts off. They've gone undefeated in the Maui Invitational, undefeated in conference play so far, dominated majority of their games. Only loss was to Duke at Duke, and hardly anybody does that.
Nothing
So
right. Yeah.
very probably one of the toughest in the country, along with Auburn's as well. So I think that that crowd is going to probably, shake Tennessee up a little bit, and they're not in the best of spirits right now. They recently lost to Vanderbilt, so I think Auburn's going to come out on top in that one.
So yeah, once again, shout out to Auburn basketball. Unanimous votes as the number one team in the country, as they deserve, how they deserve. I think this is going to be a big game. So Tennessee is a great basketball team. Let's not
Yeah.
take away from that.
hmm
And obviously Auburn is going to be with Dodger Broom. I think still right.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's it's possible. It's very possible, but it has not been confirmed nor denied that he will return. So we just
Yeah.
wait and see how that
So let's
goes.
just say Janai Broom is not playing. So Auburn still without their best player on their roster. But I give Auburn credit because without the best players, they have found what they have
They have
kind of Dominic
Continually
against.
found ways to
Yeah,
win.
so
Yes.
and I mean, yeah, they went into a tough Georgia environment, and Georgia
Hmm.
played them close, but Georgia has been playing good basketball at home lately. But this game is in Neville Arena, which I feel like is probably the
It's
best
one of
crowd
the.
there is, the best energy there is. And
Hmm.
it's gonna be tough for Tennessee to come in there and win, no matter Janai Broom there, Janai Broom out. It's just the energy. It just brings those players together. It's really hard to win in Neville. But I would be wrong to not pick Auburn to win this game as a diehard Auburn fan. I got Auburn winning this game, staying as the number 1 team, staying undefeated in conference play. But yeah, Auburn has a tough stretch coming up.
They
Think
do.
this is I think it's good to start off and win this, especially when you one's at home.
Hmm.
Because you got to go to LSU, you got to go to Ole Miss, then you get Oklahoma at home, and then you got to go, then you got to play the Florida team, and then you got to go to Vanderbilt, which you just seen in
Hmm.
Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt just knocked off Tennessee, so you got a tough SEC stretch coming. So I think this is a big game to start off and get on the right note for those guys.
Exactly. I mean, they've all been close games, since Broom went down, but they've always found ways to win, and they just never let that get to them. And of course, I think it's very huge for that Auburn team when Broom is on the bench cheering them on and showing his support and everything. So I think that that's going to be a very huge factor for that as well. And as we go right down on the list in the AP poll, we're going to have number 2 Duke going up against Wake Forest. Number 2 Duke. I would say they're going to win. I'm going to say they're going to win, yes. But Cooper Flagg has been one of the top freshmen, along with Tahad, in my opinion. But he's been one of the top freshmen, and he's in the running for National Player of the Year, along with Janai Broom. Those two are the main. They're kind of like how Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are for MVP in the NFL. They're neck and neck. Everybody's fighting for one and the other. I think that Duke's coming out on top. He's been too dominant. Their bench is awesome. Their whole roster is awesome, in my opinion. And yes, they're going away, but that's never really deterred them. And how personally, as an Auburn fan, I would like for Wake Forest to win because, of course, that kind of puts them down a little more. But realistically, I think Duke's going to win this one.
Yeah. Duke should win this easily. Shout out to Cooper Flag.
Hmm.
I mean, Cooper Flag's projected #1 pick for a reason. That guy's a
Yeah,
straight out
for a
baller.
reason.
Yeah, he's young. I think he kind of started off the season just a little bit, not playing up to his full level. But as you see now, he's getting the groove of things. He's figuring things out. Yeah, Duke by a mile. I think Duke
Yeah.
wins easily. I think Duke wins this easily.
As for that other school in Alabama, the Crimson Tide,
Yeah.
they host the LSU Tigers. They are the 4th ranked team in the country. And I hate to say this because I am a diehard Auburn fan, like I've always been saying. I don't want the Tide to win. I don't. I want LSU to win. Please, LSU, win this game. However, I do think that Alabama's going to win because Mark Sears has been awesome. They have a great freshman in LeBaron Fallon. That traitor over there wearing number 2, he's doing all right.
He's
Um,
that much better over there.
yeah, he's done way better over there than here, but we'll see how that turns out when he's in Neville Arena in a Bama jersey.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun game to go to, honestly. I'm really excited for
Yeah.
that one as well. But I think, and Grant Nelson, can't forget him as well, and Diabate as well. All of them, honestly, they're just playing phenomenal. They're doing well. They just dominated against Vanderbilt, and I think they're going to dominate again against LSU.
I got Alabama winning that game. As much as I hate to say it, but I think
Hmm.
Alabama's just a better team. Shout out to my guy LeBaron Fallon who plays for Bama. He's from Mobile, Alabama, 251.
Hmm.
Great guard. And then Aiden Holloway. I mean, I kind of told people this. I think he just fit Bama's system, and I mean that's
Yeah.
just not a knock. Not a knock to Auburn system or nothing like that, but he just fit Bama's system. The more the shooting the 3 ball a lot, all that. He fits Bama's system, and he's been playing pretty good ball at Bama right now. So
Hmm.
shout out to Aiden Holloway. But he knows when you come back to the Neville Arena, it's gonna be a lot of boos, a lot of hate. We're gonna see how
Yeah.
But yeah, Bama win. Bama is a great team, top team in the nation for a
Hmm.
reason. As you've seen, they was good last year, been good past. Nate Oates does a great job at what he does. So yeah, Bama wins that game convincingly.
Now, this isn't their next game, but this is an awesome game coming up. On Saturday, the number 7 Houston Cougars will go and play the number 12 Kansas Jayhawks. Now, the Kansas Jayhawks started off the year for a long time. It was always, oh, Kansas is 1, Auburn's 2, but Auburn's done more than Kansas. And then they fell off, and then Tennessee came up and replaced them. And then, that was the whole thing. We finally got number 1. But I personally think that in the home of basketball, you cannot lose no matter who you're playing. That's where basketball was started in Kansas. So they have their floor named after Naismith and everything. And I think that although yes, Houston is dominant, I think that Kansas will pull off this upset at home and will come out on top, moving up in the rankings, maybe even crack that top 10 too, if possible.
Yeah. Houston is a great team, by the way, but yeah, I just think Kansas, with the history and all that, they live for these big games, and they've been on kind of start off great, kind of been on a little downward, but they're getting back to
Hmm.
playing that type of basketball. So yeah, I like Kansas with the home crowd behind them, find a way to come out and take down the Houston Cougars.
Now, the next team is Florida, number 5, Florida, hosting unranked Georgia. Georgia was previously ranked last year, so it's not like, oh, they're way down the list or anything. But as we've seen, especially with Auburn in previous years, it is so tough to win in the swamp. That is one of the toughest. Honestly, I will say majority of the spots of the arenas in the SEC are like some of the toughest places to play in general. And I see that the Florida Gators will come out on top in that game. I
Yeah,
mean, they've just been dominant all season, so I see that happening.
yeah, I was about to say, I feel like Georgia plays way better at home, though. If Georgia was at home, I
Yeah,
would say, hey, Georgia has a good shot. Georgia
it's a chance. Yep.
took us to the wire. Georgia's beat like two past ranked teams, 2 out of 3 last ranked teams. They didn't play at home. So
Hmm.
Georgia plays great at home behind their crowd, which is an underrated crowd also. But yeah, I think Florida's a great team. Florida just plays great ball. I think Florida, yeah, wins this game behind their crowd, behind the swamp.
Yep. As I say, chomp on. They're probably going to chomp on them. So
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. And now we have number 22 Missouri Tigers hosting the number 16 Ole Miss Rebels, and that will take place on Saturday, the 25th at 5. Would like to pick the upset here because they'll be at home, but I just think that Ole Miss will be too dominant for them, honestly. They're a really good or Missouri's a really great team, don't get me wrong. They really are. But I just think that Ole Miss is better, and I think that, they'll be shooting lights out and getting great stops on defense like they have been, and I see Ole Miss winning this one.
yeah. I think I pick Ole Miss to win this game too. I think Ole Miss is just a much better team. Missouri is
Hmm.
a great team, but I think Ole Miss is just better. Ole Miss just finds the ways to win this game in convincing
Hmm.
fashion.
Yeah. And for what I personally would say is 'cause I have Auburn versus Tennessee as game of the week, number 1. Number 2 also includes Tennessee. Tennessee hosting Kentucky. I think that when it comes to how these teams have played this year, this will definitely be the game of the night for sure. And I see Kentucky coming out on top because what Mark Pope has been able to do after Calipari leaving to Arkansas, which has honestly been quite surprising with him starting off really rough over there. I think that it's been outside of that loss to Duke, that whole thing. It's been a great season so far for the Wildcats. And I'm gonna stick with the way the map is formed and have Kentucky on top with Tennessee right underneath them. So yeah, I got Kentucky winning that game.
Yeah. So I think Tennessee loses a close game in Auburn, and but I think they finds a way to bounce back against Kentucky,
Hmm.
and Tennessee is at home, right? If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I think they have the crowd behind them, coming off a tough loss that I think we will win, Auburn.
Hmm.
I think they come back and I think they bounce back. Find a way to hold off Kentucky. But
Yeah.
much respect to Kentucky.
Hmm.
We know what they breathe over there.
But those big rivalry games can go either way anytime. So it's anybody's game. It's just depending on who's hot that night and honestly sometimes even where you're playing at as well. But
Yeah.
speaking of Auburn, Auburn basketball has been on a 10-game winning streak ever since their loss to Duke. They've been dominating, sometimes even barely scraping by, but a win's a win no matter how small.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And they were just voted unanimously, all 62 votes went to Auburn for number 1 seed. And as I was saying earlier, they face number 6 Tennessee with College game day coming to town. And without Broom, I think they can still beat Kentucky as long as Zahad still plays the way he's been playing in the big games, averaging like 18 plus in those games. Dylan Cardwell, he's been great on defense as long as he stays out of foul trouble. We have great help in Chad Baker-Mazara, Ja'Kai Howard, um, and as well as Chaney Johnson as well. They've all been playing awesome. The bench comes together. The whole team is just one unit, and I think they're honestly a national championship contender. I I think they're already predicted to be number one in their division in the tournament. So as long as they continue to play the way they've been playing, they can come out on top in this game, especially with the help of the Neville faithful or the Auburn family, as some would say. So yeah, Auburn's been awesome recently. As long as they just continue on with this trend, they'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. With our basketball, shout out to Bruce Pearl for for
Hmm.
really changed this program around from when he first started.
All-time winningest coach
Yeah,
too.
all time winners coach. Shout out to him.
Hmm.
Shout out to Auburn. I mean, last year we was right there. I mean, won SEC championship. Obviously didn't end
Hmm.
how we wanted to do in the first round against Yale, because I
Yeah.
criticized them that we could have played much better. But against
Yeah,
Tennessee, I think we got to shoot the three ball very well. I think the three ball is
we
going to
do.
very come to play the three ball very well, because I don't think we're going to dominate the paint as much as we do with Broom in there.
Hmm.
So I think you got to kind of, you don't lean on the three ball, but Pettiford, Baker Mazara, they got to step up. And Channing Johnson, I've been saying this. He's been playing pretty good these last couple games on the offense end. He didn't play that great against Georgia, but Channing Johnson been playing very impressive on the offensive end this year. And we got to control the boards, obviously. I think that's key when you're at home. But yeah, I think the three ball is very important. We got to make sure we're able to shoot the three ball pretty well, because Tennessee can ball out and they can go get buckets when they want to, when they need to. And so
Hmm.
yeah. So without your best player, you got to play defense. You got to play defense. And you got to lean on that home crowd if you want to come out there with a win. So I think that's very important. But yeah, Auburn is obviously playing phenomenal basketball right now, and you know, yeah, we only lost one game, and but I mean we have a tough stretch coming. So I think this is a
We
point
do.
game to get off on the right note. So I'm not saying we will drop one of those, but it wouldn't be shocking if we did on this tough stretch we have of SEC play. SEC basketball is a tough conference.
It
People don't
is.
realize that it's a
And
tough conference.
it's crazy because obviously not too many of our teams made it in the college football playoff, but SEC football has been dominant this year. SEC basketball, the whole league has run through the SEC. I think we hold like 8 or 9 spots in the top 25,
For
maybe even
sure.
more than that, honestly. And with like at least around 10 of our teams projected to make the tournament. So SEC basketball has been phenomenal. And on to Tennessee, I think with Chaz Lanier and and Ziegler as well, I think that if we can get them two into foul trouble early and keep them from dominating because they love to drive in and dish and hit the extra man or whatever, as long as we can stop that, control the pace of the game entirely, and get them in foul trouble early, I think we'll be able to. I mean, don't ease up, obviously, but like we will have less pressure on us, and that way we could continue on with our good trends and then win that game that way.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that'll do the episode. I think that's about it.
But yeah, hopefully I am in attendance for that game against Auburn, Tennessee. I will try to get
Hmm.
there, and it's gonna be an exciting game. I'm gonna be screaming my lungs out for the Auburn Tigers. Or
Yeah.
the amigo, man, or the amigo.
And I'll be writing an article for that game too, actually. So be on the lookout at eagleeyeauburn.com. I'll be posting my article there on that day. So hopefully it's about us winning. I'm hoping and praying it's about us winning more than anything
Right, man. So
else.
yeah, after the game, man, y'all go tune into that article, man. Oh my God, Jaden,
Hmm.
man. But with that, man, I think that wraps up the first episode, man. The
First
first
ever.
episode of Beyond Bounds. This is a very historic day, very
Hmm.
special day. Like I said, once again, I've been trying to get this going for a long time, and we finally got it going. Um, so yeah, thank you guys for
Hmm.
tuning in, and yeah, this is the very first
Don't
episode.
forget, follow us on beyond.bounds.podcast on Instagram.
Yeah,
With
Beyond
TikTok being
Bounds. Yeah,
unbanned now, we might even make a TikTok. We might make a
yeah.
TikTok.
Actually, we made a TikTok. I made it,
Oh, we
and
did. Okay. All right. Perfect.
so you got Beyond Bounds on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Dominic.Nettles. You can follow
Yep.
my
You
guy
got me as
Jaden.
well. Jaden Eccles 0, JADENECHOLS 0.
But yeah, guys, I just want to say, man, this is just the beginning. It's going to be a long process, and we're going to trust the process. And, we're going to keep making content for you guys and keep talking about sports, which I think is very good for this. And once again, thank you guys.
Yes, thank y'all.
Hey, and look, man, I always remember you got to go beyond bounds sometimes, man. Thank you.